Is that better? That was driving me nuts. Okay, let's see if we can do this. I can't see.
There's a flashlight up there.
Yeah, there's a flashlight, but I think I have to put the glasses on. Oh, that's worse. All right, we're gonna go without notes. So first off, thank you all for coming today. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Karen Hardy. I actually live over in Stevens County, and I ran against Shelley Short this last election for the state senator. So, but now I'm just a concerned citizen, which is great, because then I get to say what I really want to say. So, there's some limits when you're running. So, yes, I've been secretly involved in this process actually since 2016, when they were looking at the Addy site. As a member of the Stevens County Democrats, we looked at the Senate bill that they wanted to give tax relief and wanted to know why. Why are we giving people money? If they want to build smelters, great. But, you know, what was the purpose of that? So this has been bouncing around for a while. I don't want to take a lot of your time. I'm so impressed with this group and what they've done. And I want to tell a little story today because we've heard a lot of really important information. And I'm going to talk about open government. And I have a PowerPoint there, Mike, if you can find it. But we're going to... You forgot to load it. Oh no, it's okay. We're gonna talk about a horse for a minute, because I do firmly believe in government. I'm one of these really weird people who believes government by the people for the people is actually how we get things done. And there was a great man, I can't remember his name because Mike doesn't have the PowerPoint up, who said that politics was our founding fathers' way of giving us a choice other than authoritarianism. That is, we can either fight, have wars, we can have an authoritarian regime, or we can accept politics into our life. So for a long time, people have followed the mindset that we don't talk about politics in polite company anymore. We don't want to offend anybody. We don't want to disagree with anybody. And I think that's been a disservice to us. And I think this is an example of what happens when we step away from our government. And I don't mean politics as in political parties. I mean our government, our county commissioners, our PUD. No matter what our ethical and our moral and our feelings are, they're our representatives. And this is our county. This is our life. And how does this represent us? So anyway, I digress. So I have an old horse, and his name is Jasper. And the reason I want to talk about Jasper is because I think Jasper is a really good analogy for our county commissioners. I don't mean that offensively, but I'm at my heart, at my core, I'm a cowgirl, so that's the way I look at things. So Jasper was rounded, he's a Mustang, he's a Kiger Mustang, came out of Nevada. Rounded up, got a good start. Somebody actually did a good job with him and sold him to a gal, inexperienced rider, to be a lesson horse. Great. He's got food, he's got a barn, he's got, life is good for Jasper. So she's riding him around in circles, and he's kind of bored. And something happens, and he spooks, and he goes, whoop, and he bucks. And she falls off. No big deal, but she was scared. So she took him in the barn, and she took his saddle off, and she brushed him, and she fed him. Now, anyone who knows anything about horses knows what happens the next time she went out to get on him. So the next time she goes out to get on him, he's riding around in circles, and he's like, wonder what happens if I just go boop, and she falls off. And she's like, oh, I don't want to get hurt. So she takes him in the barn, and she unsaddles him, and she brushes him, and she feeds him, and she tells him he's a good boy. So now Jasper has decided that this is what we do. We ride around in a circle for a little while, and then I go boop, and you fall off, and I get fed. That's what we do. She has created what we call in the horse training business a confirmed bucker. Not a bad horse. Didn't start out bad. Not a malicious horse. But will put you in the dirt. Our county commissioners started out good. Our county commissioners took on I always believe the best in people till proven otherwise. I see some head shaking, but I'm going to go with that because that's the way I live. They took on a job that no one else in this room wants to take on. And I know that because nobody ran against them. And that's back to our responsibility. And they ran for this position, and we elected them. And they did their job, And maybe they didn't do it quite right. Maybe they didn't follow open meetings. Maybe they didn't do everything quite right. But we elected him again. 67% of the people voted for them. 75% of the people voted for Mike Manis.
Yeah.
We patted them on the head, we gave them a cookie, and we told them they did a good job. That's what they expect from us. We gave them our trust. They served us. They are public servants. They did their job, and we re-elected them. Now, suddenly, Jasper thinks this is what we do. We buck. So, this gal doesn't want to get hurt. Her husband doesn't want her to get hurt. They hire a cowboy. Cowboy comes out, says, "Oh, I can fix that horse. No problem. Watch this." So he gets on, rides around in circles. Jasper's like, "Oh, look, it's time to quit." Boop. Cowboy goes, "No." Turns his heels in, spurs him, feeds him a little steel, jerks his head around, chastises him. "We don't do this." And Jasper's so surprised because he thought he was doing what he was supposed to do. He was expecting a cookie and a brushing. And he just got chastised. So he bucked harder. And the cowboy fought harder. And the horse bucked harder. The cowboy ended up in a heap. Jasper ended up mad. Now, I've never got him to tell me his side of the story. But from what I can tell from his behavior, he was morally offended by what happened. And decided from that point forward, no, I get a cookie. So every ride is going to end up with someone in the dirt and me getting a cookie. Is that what we're doing to our commissioners? Is that the path we're on with our commissioners? Do we want to fight with them or do we want to work with them? We don't want the smelter. We can agree on that, or maybe we can't. But do we want to escalate this so that there is no way out? No. We want to find a way out. We want to find a positive solution. So, back to politics. We have to talk about uncomfortable things. We have to make compromises. We have to decide what we want to do. But we're not going to get there by continuing to escalate it. And so, back to Jasper. 3 cowboys ended up in the emergency room before my phone rang. And then I get the call, because that's what I do. I'm a diplomat in personal terms, and I'm a diplomat with horses. And they said, this horse is going to kill somebody. Will you take him? Sure. That's just what I want. So I put Jasper in the barn, and I have a deal with horses. Nobody eats for free. Everybody works on my ranch. We're not going to fight, and you don't have to carry me, but nobody works for free. Just like our commissioners. We don't have to fight them, but they do work for us. So every day, Jasper got his saddle put on, Jasper got his bridle put on, and Jasper got tied to the back of my mare. M-A-R-E. We might need a good M-A-Y-O-R around here to tie our commissioners to, but it's the same principle. And 6 months I spent, and every day Jasper went to work. And my horse led by example. She showed him what it was like to be a good horse. And she also showed him what it was like to throw a fit. And every time he threw a fit, she kicked the crap out of him. And so he learned really quick that I had cookies in my pocket. And as long as he went along with me, I just kept shoveling cookies in his face. And when he threw a fit, because he still thought that that was what he was supposed to do, she'd kick him. So we gave him an out. And after 6 months, he decided that it was just easier just to walk along and be a good boy. And I gave him to my daughter. And this is the part where we're at now, is we need somebody with some love. I gave Jasper to a 13-year-old girl, and I gave him a job. And he fell in love, and he never bucked again, because I took the time to find out what it was he needed, and I put the effort into it. It would have been easier to just shoot the horse, honestly. I mean, he wasn't really worth that. But because I took the time, and because I worked with him, he became the best working ranch horse we've ever had. Because he was a Mustang, he could cover ground that no other horse would or could. So here we are with our county commissioners. And here I am to the part of this that I need to read. Let's see if I can see it. It says, I invested 6 months of my time into Jasper and gave him to my daughter. She loved him, and he respected her. He flourished under her care and became the best working ranch horse we ever had. He's 35 and toothless and suffers from dementia now. But I keep him. And I keep him to remind me that he worked for me and I was responsible for him. And that was our deal. So the question is, are we willing to work with our elected officials? Are we determined to fight them? And until both sides become so entrenched that we lose all hope for a positive resolution, are we willing to work and find a positive solution? I think that, as was shown up here, our elected officials broke the law. They did not sell the land appropriately. They did not follow the law. But the question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to punish them for selling it to High Test Sand? We can have the sale nullified, but are you willing to buy the land? Are you willing to give them an out? What as a group are you willing to do to provide a solution for this? Because if we nullify the sale and then they do it again and they do it, this is what the PowerPoint was about, was your government, you have a right to know what's going on. Open meeting policy. You have a right to open to records, but you do not have a voice. Your voice is your vote. Your voice is who you elected. So once you put them in the barn and gave them the cookie and you said you're doing what we want you to do, you have to accept responsibility. Your only choice is to either get new commissioners or accept what they're doing. So what out have you given your commissioners? What are you willing to do to give them a positive solution? They were doing what they thought was best for you. They're looking for jobs. They sold the land. That's what you elected them to do. If that's not what you want, what are you going to do to give them a positive out? And that's a question for you guys, not for me to answer. But when we talk about open government and we talk about what they're supposed to do and all the things, I went through all the lists. I do have on one of these slides the auditors, the Washington State auditors. You can look it up. There's a phone number and a hotline and a form, and I encourage everyone in this room to fill it out because your county commissioners did not follow the RCWs. They did not follow the law in selling that land. But once that's done, that's the only law that's been broken. So what do you want to do? And that's the question. That's the challenge moving forward. Is do you want to work with them or not? And do you want to get so entrenched that it becomes a battle? So thank you for your time.